I'll be right out, Marty. The other guys are on the platform. They're not very far. I'm essentially having to feed at 3 spots now because Stripe wants to eat by himself. Well, Gray's up here, but I just moved some of the food down here for Slate. She showed up. I think we had about 1 inch of rain last night. Let's look. It's about 7/10. The cat bowls were pretty full though. It was a nice rain. It was a decent rain. You can count it as a rain. All right, Nani. So what you gonna do?
I'm gonna put my foot on the brake, and you can probably don't need the video.
Don't need to show the pin.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna hit the door. So at this point, I think the car's not in gear, but I think it's smart enough to detect.
So it says auto close in 20 feet. And I did move the kitties out of the way. That's what took me a minute to get in the car.
Okay, so auto close in 20
feet is what it says.
All right, so I'm not gonna close it.
It acknowledged to us that it knew that it needed to close. Oh, it's closing. So we backed out and there she went. And they're really not wanting to move. Why don't you back up one more time?
Okay, so that's how it does it.
And the answer is that they really don't care about the pedestrian alert signaling to them that they need to move. Like I said, thank goodness they move for FedEx, UPS, and the mail truck is really loud too.
Right. Okay.
All right.
So I think now I'm gonna let it open the door automatically when we come home so I can see how it really works. But I think what I'm going to do is turn the auto open off, because I often come home and I don't want the garage door to pop up instantaneously because we have to unload the car and stuff like that, and I prefer to do all that outside. So I don't mind tapping the home link to open the door when I'm ready to actually pull the car in. I find it, but pretty much every time I back the car out, I want the door to close. So I think I'm gonna, if it's possible, I'm gonna leave the auto close in place, and I'm going to turn off the auto open. I don't know if that's possible. The settings, I don't know if they're independent of each other.
Right. Just remember, we like to not leave the door open for an extended period of time because we're heating and cooling most of the year.
That's
and
right.
Not a lot, but a little to keep it manageable in there. And we don't want the air escaping longer than getting the car out.
That's right. And
it seemed to come down pretty quick today.
Yeah, I thought that coming down was very convenient.
Yeah, you couldn't have closed it any faster.
Any quicker, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, if we pulled too far up here, which we have not, I do think she would hit that cement and scratch. So I was just sort of checking out. I've not paid too much attention to the clearance of this car in the front, but that is...
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
Yeah, that black underneath especially, I feel the white wouldn't hit, but the black underneath would. So I told Donnie that I want to do the Jeff Wells Trail this morning. He thinks down to Wagstaff, the other end where the trail ends, which is basically where the environmental park is, and back is probably around 1 mile. So it should be sort of equivalent to walking the track 4 times, but he's running the app on his phone, so he ought to be able to tell us what it is. And since we're not gated by him having to get to work this morning, I thought we'd give it a try. I think I'm feeling good enough. It is misting on us just a little bit, and Don made me put on that nice orange Russell athletic wear windbreaker.
Really good. Look at that girl. She looks
look okay,
orangey.
Except for the girl thing of I'm growing my bangs out, and they're sort of a mess right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. But yes, the windbreaker was probably the right idea. I was going to be stubborn and not wear
Well,
anything.
it's a little breezy.
And Don has on his jacket, so it's like, kitten, you need to put something on. And I listened. I complied without giving him a trouble. Especially when he said, I'll carry it for you if you decide you don't want it. So, you know, that was a win-win for me right there. So this is the high school ball field. I know I show it all the time from Ruby, and I've been on this trail once or twice. But Don's down here a lot. There's actually some Pokestops on the trail, so it's not like just because we're not on the track, I still can't spin. So that's good for me. That's motivation for me. So Jeff Wells, environmental chair, you know, he was board of commissioner for 8 years, it says. I'm not familiar with him. I didn't realize there was water right back here behind the ball field. I did not. One year Don and I came and we picked blackberries on this trail, and then of course you have to add 5 tons of sugar or maple syrup to blackberries to get them to not be tart, which is really not healthy. But I did make blackberry cobbler, and it was excellent. It was almost worth the thorns in my fingers and the mosquito bites we got picking the berries.
Smoke could be coming down this hill. I said, let's see what happens when we go back up.
And I was like, oh my God, no, he's right. It is a hill, which he runs up. Let's see, no, you run down because you come out this way, not go in this way.
Not. There's enough hills going the other way. The hill's going both ways.
So a lot of kudzu.
Yeah.
There's the neighborhood I drive through, but not the part of it I normally drive through. This is sort of the backside, and we're coming up over here on the new stuff. The townhomes that they've been putting in is just around this corner here. I guess come to think of it, it shouldn't be a surprise there's water over here because we have the bridge and the water in the environmental park, and it's just an extension of that. But like I said, Don's over here all the time when he runs, and I'm not. And there you can see the townhomes, which are all brand spanking new in the last 6 months. And there is a spot where the trail goes up between the townhome community and the housing community. Oh, there's a house with solar panels. There are a few in that neighborhood.
Yeah, there's the ones that are finishing up now. As you can see, the siding isn't on that one there. Those will be done very soon. I think they're getting close to completion of this project, because there are people who have moved in. They are on the market. As I said, she's smoking me going downhill. She's playing pogo. But this is the spot where there's access to those townhomes and stuff. And there's going to be houses up there. This is the trail extension they put in. And it just goes up right at the top of the hill. It hits the street, and there's sidewalks.
Yeah, I've shown it from the other side. They added the pole lights too, right?
Yeah, they added those a couple years ago.
So along the path there are a lot of these sewage access points, manhole covers. And here's the switching station you've heard us talk about before, and you've seen me point the camera at driving by. And
yeah, lift station.
Lift station. What did I call it?
Switching station.
Yeah, lift station. Well, the walk down here was really easy. I am a little worried about the walk in the other direction, but we'll take it at whatever pace I can handle. So home is to the right.
Sure.
And environmental park is to the left. Watch out, somebody else, Donnie.
That's where you catch your Pokemon, right?
Yeah, the environmental park is right up there.
19 minutes to get down here. It's 0.75 miles, so it's 3/4 of a mile.
Okay, So it'll be a solid 1.5 miles by the time I haul myself back to the car up that hill. Okay, let's go. Obviously, I don't want to get too close, but there are goslings and geese there. Let me zoom in a bit. Don's checking his heart rate. He has on his Polar heart monitor today. You got a number for me? It didn't work?
Yeah, like I said, my chest strap thing, it just doesn't do well. And it's not reading now, so I don't know what my heart rate is.
Mine's doing pretty good today. Right now it says 109. It was up to 130 at one point. 109 is not bad at all. There's Jules. So how far did we walk?
Well, it's at 1.44 right now.
Okay.
So we're 0.05 miles away from 1.5 miles.
Okay.
So by the time we get to the car, that'll be 1 mile.
So it's 1.5 miles with a little more hill than walking the track 6 times or whatever. Yeah. Well, I thought it was a good thing to do on Sunday because we weren't gated by your work.
Right.
So Don's smile is improving by the second as he realizes he's close to his love seat and his coffee.
That is exactly correct. It actually stopped. No,
Jules actually came to a stop today because of the truck. It's the same truck as yesterday.
Yeah. But I didn't touch the accelerator. I didn't make Jules get going. It came to a stop. I guess it evaluated the situation and it pulled forward, and then it was able to see further ahead that says there's no car coming, and it went on. So it kind of just was super cautious.
So one of our viewers asked us to talk about Tesla Vision, left us a comment on our opinion about it, and I just wondered there, shouldn't the radar be sort of beaming under the truck like it does in stop and go traffic, where if the guy in front of you is stopping, you know, it beams underneath the car in front of you? And I mean, I've had really great not have collisions because Ruby detected the car in front of me was stopping. Well, what will happen to that without the radar?
Well, but you don't know that she wasn't just using vision there and ignoring the radar. Just because we haven't gotten the other stuff doesn't mean they've not started changing.
Well, I'm talking about 2 years ago.
Oh,
but
well,
we
yeah.
Sure don't know that the cameras, I mean, you're right. We had YouTubers saying, oh, it's beaming underneath the car and this is probably what's happening with the radar and stuff, but Tesla didn't say that and we don't really know.
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is that example back there, I would have thought radar would have picked up on any motion
under that truck, around the truck.
Right, and any motion whatsoever, I'm thinking it would have picked up on it, but I don't think it used the radar as the input there whatsoever. It 100% made that. Every decision there it just made was all on vision.
Right.
So back there, I think the thing is it can't sit around the truck. I think it was using vision there completely, and it could, because the truck was so tall, it couldn't see. The parked cars, it can see around those a little bit easier, but that delivery van there, it couldn't see around. It was long,
and the hill
and the curve. I mean, there were like several things that lined up that made vision tricky in that situation. So the car was super cautious to just didn't drive around it and deal with whatever happened on the other side. It was very cautious until it was decided it's clear, I can go now. I mean, it didn't just drive like a human would be. It's like, oh, here comes a car, I better speed up, slow down, or do something. The car doesn't like to get itself into those situations.
Right. So Don wanted to turn off auto open when arriving. Yeah. Go ahead and do that.
But when you do that, it turns off
auto close when leaving. What do they have to do with each other? They're right. Two totally separate actions.
I agree.
Bummer.
In fact, it lets you adjust the auto open distance.
Right. Well, that's because cars driving by their house and they're close to the street were having problems.
Right. But
we sort of would have probably increased the back out distance a little bit just for security, safety feeling, but because that closed pretty quick. So
I was gonna say, guess what we're doing? We're on the hunt for what?
The Supercharger.
That's right.
We're headed to Siler City for a little drive.
Yeah.
Scope out the Supercharger that a few others have seen this week that is under construction. We're sorry it's not nice and sunny today, but we just kind of were itching to get in the car and get, go for a ride. And there's always a lot of cool stuff to see on this ride over to Siler City because Don takes the...
there's blue sky back in that hole right up there.
Yeah, because Don always takes the long way, the best way, the scenic route. We have gone on New Hope Valley Railway when the boys were smaller. I was by myself with them one time, and I know Don was with us one time. And yep, it's always cool scenery, sun or no sun. Maybe the sun will come out on our ride, who knows. Pretty excited as we were crossing Jordan Lake. On my side, as I was videoing the lake, I saw a bald eagle. That's always exciting. It's really only been a few times in my life. Maybe I'm up to 3 sightings with, in person out and about on my own versus a zoo or other rescue or something. But that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. And on Memorial Day weekend too. Patriotic and all. So it says we're 2 miles from the Food Lion Plaza. This is 421, heads down to Sanford and up to Greensboro. We're going right past the Walmart on our left and the Smithfields on our left. When we were here, we focused on an area around, there's to go right there to go to Greensboro. We focused on right here at the interchange with 421, and I guess this is really not going to be that much farther than there. It's saying 0.5 miles 1 minute now. I may have read that wrong the first time. So it's close, and the Food Lion is on the right. So maybe this Siler crossing is where the Food Lion is. I haven't seen the Food Lion sign yet. Food Lion being a local grocery store chain. It must be one shopping center up from Siler Crossing.
Right, I'm going to think that's it.
So if you're going to go to Charlotte and you don't want to take I-40, you might take US Highway 64, which is where we are. This would be like an alternate way to get to Charlotte. Alright, there's the Food Lion sign. It used to be blue and yellow. The fact that it's all this black lion now is their latest and greatest sign. I'm gonna guess left. haven't seen it yet. Oh my goodness, they got the pedestals up already and everything.
Look at this girl. She's
wow. Wow. Well, I think for people not being irritated with us taking up parking spaces and having to back into the pedestals, that this is a good location. There's a Cricket, a Pizza Hut, and a pharmacy. This is not going to be a great, there's a Walgreens within walking distance too. It's not going to be a great, oh wow, you get fine dining or restrooms 24 hours location, but wow. So maybe just pull there and I'll get out and take some pictures. Food Lion Shopping Center, US Highway 64, Siler City, North Carolina, just west of the on-off ramps for 421. So there's 8 of them. There's Don and Jules. These are going in quick, very quick. Right, I don't think they do anything less than 250 now, right?
Yeah, I didn't mean to say 350. This is a 250.
Yep.
Because they got the small cable.
Well, and the shape of the pedestal is just a smidge different too, maybe?
Yeah, I thought at some point there was like, there used to be vents or something.
Yeah, well, the nice thing about this location is, like I said, it's on the right side of the shopping center, that it won't irritate any of the patrons for a Food Lion. It's not taking any prime parking area up. Looks like at night there is a light fixture or two.
That doesn't be a problem.
What is?
There's the curve, and then there's a lip up here. That's going to be a trip hazard.
Yeah, that is weird how they did that. It's like that cement is 2 inches higher than... Yeah, because I mean, even if you bring the asphalt up, that's still pretty high.
So this is a brand new pad. That's fresh concrete there. It's poured, and that's a brand new transformer. It's all nice and green and painted and stuff. And it's a big transformer too. I've walked all the way around.
Yep, I seen you. There's flags up there on the hill.
But that's not been dug up. That's undisturbed ground up there. It's marked, well indicated what's there, but it's not been disturbed. So this hasn't been disturbed here either, if you can see, heading down to that transformer.
Right.
And then there's yet another transformer over there. So I believe there was probably a small transformer or something here. They've taken it out, poured a new pad, put a bigger transformer in. So I'm thinking the power comes in from the street up that way. In other words, there had to have been some kind of underground utility power
already here,
and they just tapped into it at this spot. That's my hypothesis. Because look, you can see that that's probably the cabinet for the Food Lion. Now, that other cabinet down there, I don't know what that would be for. That's pretty small looking.
Could that be sewage?
Well, it's hard to say, sweetie.
I'm just looking at the cement next to it, the manhole cover or whatever. I don't know.
It's possible. We'll drive that way. Maybe we could see what it is.
Although, let's not hit this. Let me kick this out of the way. So we're on the other side of the building. This is the wall for the Food Lion. And Don was just trying to understand where the electrical feed for the shopping center was coming from. Is that sort of close to the right word?
Yeah.
And I don't think he's really totally figured it out. I thought maybe it just came around the whole back side of the building.
Well, if the trees weren't so thick there, I would say it would come through there. But normally they knock all that down, clearing wise, and would come over here, because there did seem to be down on that transmission line, there seemed to be a little bit more, but I can't really say that for sure. And that's a pretty serious drop off right there, let me tell you.
Yeah, you're right. It's 40, 50 feet down. I don't know that you can tell on the camera or the video, but it is 40, 50 feet.
Yeah. It's hard to say. guess if you went and pulled the permit out, maybe they would show where it's going to come, where it gets its feed from.
Well, we'll be back when it's open.
Yeah.
Even if Elon didn't follow through and give us badges for charging at new Superchargers, we'll still come and it'll still be in Teslafy, and we'll know we were here.
That's right.
I'm pretty upset, and Don's taking me back to the ER. I've been trying for a couple hours now, I guess, to overcome some feelings and symptoms that I'm having again, and it's not working. So we're going to Duke Raleigh Hospital this time, which is a stroke, cardiac, ER, instead of Wake Med Cary. Not that we're really unhappy with this care that I got there, but we just felt like we needed to try something different this time. And I don't know what else to say, except that I'm pretty upset.
Yeah. We're going to get her fixed up.
I can't keep going on like this. I can't be waiting 3 or 4 weeks for tests when I don't feel well enough to get through the day, or I'm so scared about trying to get through the day. They got to do something more than they're doing. We're really close to the Raleigh Supercharger. There's a Model Y with a bike rack. I told Don I want him to walk in with me. Since I'm a frequent flyer at Cary, I kind of know the drill, but I don't want to go in here by myself. Well, more power is parked next to the emergency MD. I don't know exactly how long we sat at that emergency room without talking to anybody but the receptionist, but it was probably, Don says it was over an hour. They didn't do anything, and we were.
And I asked them to see her, and they just said, yeah, soon. She'll be next, and it's just they never came.
And they seemed to have very little staff, and no one was in an emergency about anything, and they were doing triage basically in the waiting room and not in a private area. And anyway, we're headed back over to Wake Med Cary, where at least they triage and you feel like somebody is doing something for you while you wait. Because if they want to run that heart enzyme, they like to run it at 2 intervals, 3 hours apart. And then if it's done anything wrong, they'll do it a 3rd time. And I've not had any problems with that, but I'm sure they're going to want to run it again. And yeah. So, well, it's a good sign when you leave the ER and it's the same day and it's still daylight. And then on top of it being daylight, it's sunny out. And Jules is in her frequent flyer Wake Med Cary emergency lot parking spot.
Exactly right.
And obviously I'm sounding a lot better. So I think the nice ER doctor and her frank and direct conversation with me was reassuring. And she says she has no doubt that I'm having some tingles, sensations, and other things, but I am not having a heart attack. I am not having a stroke. And stop worrying.
That's right. Fundamentally,
she didn't tell me the symptoms were in my head, and I assure you that some of them are not. But yeah, calm down. In my defense, all right, having had breast cancer is a really scary thing. And going through a year where they're talking about COVID and people dying like every time you turn on the news, even though Dawn has stopped watching the news for me almost pretty much.
Yeah, I only watch the weather.
It's just, it's hard. And then she said probably I'm having some long-term effects from going through the chemotherapy. That triggers my nervous system somehow. Maybe I had the Lyme, maybe I don't. It doesn't really matter what's causing it, right? But obviously, other than being uncomfortable, it's not keeping me from functioning, and to stop worrying about it because that's just making it worse. So I promised I would do a better job. So Dawn and I had a scare today on the Beltline. I guess we'll just let it play. You know, as it approaches the red dot, there's going to be a vehicle comes up on the right, And I think we're going to be able to see him lose this metal grate off of the back of his vehicle. And made a really loud noise, and thankfully nobody behind him hit it, at least not immediately. I saw him pulling over and going back to try to remove it off the road, which of course is dangerous for him. But it was really loud and it was scary. I mean, I am glad that it gets all of this beforehand, but then when you're trying to do, yeah, that motorcycle guy was a real piece of work too.
That's right, pretty much coming up right here. There's the truck. That's the truck right there.
Probably. So let's see if we see this thing go down see something go down.
There it goes.
Yep, there it goes. You could see the piece of debris fell off of that truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that motorcycle guy wasn't driving too great anyway, but really what we were trying to do, let's watch it one more time if I can get it to go closer to the... There it is. He has, so what did he have up there? Let's pause it where we can see. It's really hard to move the dot.
There's the motorcycle guy. So the truck's coming on right there. There's the truck. It looks like a
brand new gas grill, and it flew out of the back of his truck and landed on the ground.
Yeah. That guy right here was really lucky because he passed that guy.
Yeah, because it's strapped, but I guess he didn't loop it.
Yeah, he didn't loop it, and it slipped out from underneath the strap.
Yep, I think that's what happened.
Yep.
So this car had moved over a lane?
Yeah, he got really...
we can make that big? Okay, let's watch it. Let's back it up. I'm sorry, I would have done that in the beginning if I'd have been thinking. It's been a long day.
Yeah. All right, so here comes the motorcycle.
Here comes the motorcycle. He's all irritating and hot to trot. Because he cut in front of us.
Yeah, barely cleared us.
Barely cleared us. It was startling.
Well, I mean, clear the car in front. Yeah, it was closer than it looked to the car in front. Not us. I shouldn't have said us. Because I certainly remember.
Oh, it went back. So how did I...
I'm talking too much.
Trying to get it to... Did I show the wrong camera? I don't think so.
There's a motorcycle. Yeah, this is the truck right there in the front. But hang on, you're on the right one. Oh,
it just jumped. Why would it have done that?
So there's the truck coming on board on
the interstate. Well, anyway, you get this car came over.
Wow.
Yeah, it starts doing that jumpy thing. I've seen that before when I've tried to look at stuff. But you got the gist. He came on. The car behind him thankfully got out from behind him, and right about then the gas grill flew off the back of the truck, and I heard it crash on the ground.
Yep.
And then I sort of saw it out of my peripheral vision, either the mirror or actually out the glass. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, I agree.
We were lucky we weren't behind him.